In the early 14th century, an order, once hailed as Christendom's shield, was dragged in chains through the streets of Paris. The Knights Templar, war-hardened monks who had risen from humble origins to become Europe's most feared cavalry and most trusted bankers, were about to face their darkest hour. What unfolded was not a battlefield defeat, but a meticulously engineered destruction: arrests at dawn, confessions wrenched by torture, and flames licking the night on an island in the Seine. 2 centuries earlier, their story had begun simply enough. Around 1119, a small brotherhood led by Hugues de Payan vowed to protect pilgrims on the treacherous roads to Jerusalem. They took monastic vows: poverty, chastity, obedience, and added a fourth: to defend the Holy Land with the sword. The Church sanctioned them at the Council of Troyes in 1129, and donations poured in. Lands, privileges, and exemptions followed. As Crusader fortunes waned, Templar fortunes only grew. They became more than warriors. The Templars pioneered letters of credit, early banking that allowed a pilgrim to deposit coin in London and withdraw in Acre. Kings borrowed from them. Nobles stored treasure in their fortresses. Merchants trusted their ledgers. Their white mantles with the Red Cross became a brand of security and power. But the same wealth that shielded them also drew envious eyes. By the 1290s, the Crusader states had crumbled. The fall of Acre in 1291 severed the Templars' frontline purpose. They regrouped on Cyprus and in European commanderies, still rich, still exempt from local taxes and bishops, still answering only to the Pope. Meanwhile, France's King Philip IV, Philip the Fair, was suffocating under debt. He had fought costly wars and wrung money from Jews and Lombard bankers. The Templars were both his creditors and, crucially, beyond his legal reach, unless, that is, they could be discredited. At dawn on Friday, October 13, 1307, Philip struck. In a coordinated sweep across France, royal officers arrested Templars by the hundreds, seizing records and treasure. The charges were sensational: heresy, spitting on the cross, idol worship, the mysterious Baphomet, obscene initiation rites. Shock rippled through Europe. The Templars had long projected piety and discipline. Now their secretive vows and closed ceremonies were turned against them in the court of public opinion. Under the lead of Philip's compliant inquisitors, interrogations turned brutal. The strappado wrenched shoulders from sockets. Sleep deprivation, fetters and threats did the rest. Confessions came, predictably, under torture. Some brothers, desperate to end the agony, muttered that they had denied Christ in the rites. Others recanted as soon as the ropes were loosened. The spectacle served its purpose: headlines for the 14th century. If so many confessed, the king argued, the dirt must be true. Pope Clement V, based in Avignon and wary of antagonizing Philip, was caught between law and power. Initially outraged that a king had moved against a papal order, he soon issued Pastoralis Praeeminentiae, November 1307, instructing other rulers to arrest Templars as well. Trials multiplied across Christendom with wildly uneven results. In some realms, local inquiries found little or nothing. Elsewhere, the French template, torture, confession, condemnation, was copied. Privately, Clement's own commissioners questioned the Templar leaders. In 1308 at Chinon, they heard Grand Master Jacques de Molay and others. The so-called Chinon Parchment, rediscovered centuries later, suggests the Pope granted absolution for certain alleged offences, hardly the act of a pontiff convinced of wholesale heresy. Publicly, however, the political tide had turned. In 1312, at the Council of Vienne, Clement suppressed the order by bull vox in excelso, not with a definitive verdict of heresy, but on grounds of scandal and necessity. Templar assets were, on paper, transferred to their rivals turned heirs, the Hospitallers. In practice, kings helped themselves. France made the end bloody. In 1310, 54 Templars in Paris who had retracted torture-won confessions were branded relapsed heretics and burned. 4 years later came the finale. On March 18, 1314, on the Ile de la Cité in the Seine, Jacques de Molay and Geoffrey de Charny were led to a platform to hear their sentence of lifelong imprisonment. Instead, both men stunned the crowd by proclaiming their innocence and the orders. The court, furious, condemned them to the stake that very evening. The Grand Master died in fire, calm, witnesses said, defiant to the end. From the flames rose a legend that de Molay, with his last breath, summoned Pope Clement and King Philip to the judgment of God within a year. Superstition or not, both men were dead within months, Clement in April 1314, Philip that November. The story of a dying curse, embroidered by later chroniclers, ensured the drama would never quite fade. Were the Templars guilty? Modern historians sift a tangle of coerced confessions, political calculations, and papal caution. The uniformity of the French allegations and the reliance on torture make broad heresy unlikely. Stranger elements, the idol, the secret rites, read today like accusations tailored to inflame. What is clear is motive: a king's debts, a sovereign order outside his control, and a chance to seize wealth while humbling a rival authority. In the end, the Templars were undone not by Saracen blades, but by European power politics. Their castles and farms changed hands. Their ledgers were closed. Their white mantles were folded away. Yet their disappearance only magnified the myth. Treasure hoards, cursed kings, hidden rites, and a Friday the 13th, forever marked as unlucky. The facts are darker and simpler. In 1307, the machinery of crown and inquisition crushed a brotherhood that no longer fit the times. On a cold island in Paris, the pyre burned bright enough to cast a shadow across 7 centuries. The Knights Templar, warriors, bankers, symbols, became a cautionary tale of how quickly accusations can be forged into verdicts, and how, in the medieval struggle for power, justice was often the first thing to burn. You've been watching History's Darkest Crimes, where the shadows of the past are never far away. Subscribe and ring the bell to step deeper into the stories they tried to bury. Until next time, remember, in history's darkest corners, the truth is often stranger than legend. I'll see you in the next one.